Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today we're gonna dive back into Arena because we're on a new season and Explorer's kind of taken off a little bit. So we're gonna be pretty excited to go over Mono Blue, and today I've got a little bit of a new take, or an old take, whichever you want to call it, on Mono Blue tempo. Here we're gonna have a lot of the same mainstays that we've had before. We've got Spectral Sailor, Ascendant Spirit, and a giant pile of snow-covered islands. We also have the Curious Obsession and counter spells that we're kind of used to seeing. We have a little bit more 1-mana interaction than usual here, since we're going to be playing Spell Pierce 3x and You See a Guard Approach 3x. We're also going to play 2 copies of Fading Hope. For our counter spells, other than the ones we just pointed out here, we've also got 4 copies of Lofty Denial and just 2 copies of Geistlight Snare. The reason we're going to be playing the split like that is because all of the creatures in this deck will have flying, but we're playing a lot fewer spirits. We'll notice that there's no Supreme Phantom, no Rattle Chains, no Shacklegeists. Instead, we're going to be playing a purely flash-based plan here that also has a little bit more card advantage than usual. We've got Spectral Adversary, which is pretty sweet, as a 4x. We've got Brazen Borrower, also as a 4x, and Shark Typhoon is the newest addition to this archetype, and that's going to be 4x as well. And the reason for that is, other than exactly Curious Obsession and Ascendant Spirit, everything else here can be played at instant speed. There's no such thing really as Teferi in this format, so we're not necessarily worried about that. We instead just get to have a giant pile of instant speed interaction, and this is going to be especially relevant against the archetypes that we actually plan to fight in this format. One of the biggest decks in Explorer, now that Winota's gone, are going to be things like Greasefang, and that's going to be where you want cards like Brazen Borrower and Spectral Adversary a lot more than cards like Rattle Chains and Supreme Phantom. You're also going to see a decent number of Mono Blue decks because, well, this deck is great. So instead of trying to play things like Supreme Phantom on your own turn, get yourself Mystical Disputed and have your life suck for a little bit, here we're going to have Spectral Adversary, which lets you both hold up mana for Ascendant Spirit and hold up your 2-mana counter spells all the time, which is going to be pretty great. But also the Shark Typhoon, anybody who's played Pioneer with Mono Blue or any version of Spirits knows just how much of a giant pain in the ass Shark Typhoon is. And if you just get to like cycle a shark every now and then for 3x, 4x, that's usually enough to see a lot of game, honestly, kind of by itself, without fear of being countered, which is really big. Control is also a pretty big player in this format, which is where having access to 9 main deck counter spells and ways to give your creatures hexproof, along with ways to rescue your creatures from sweepers, is all big game. You even have a couple of little tricks in here. You get to, like, for example, Brazen Borrower or something, maybe it's their Shark Typhoon token, cast your Brazen Borrower, attack with it, respond to their sweeper by getting Fading Hope back to your hand, and now all of a sudden you have access to both Petty Theft and Brazen Borrower all over again, and now they're stuck solving the same problem, and you get to rebuy your way to get rid of Shark Typhoon tokens. I think that's going to be a pretty big deal. We're also still going to be playing Faceless Haven because, well, the card hasn't stopped being busted, so we're going to be pretty happy to play 2 copies of that alongside our 20 basic islands. This deck could play a copy of Otuar if you really want it. I do not want it, so I'm not playing it. But if you want to play 1, maybe even 2, I'm not going to say I blame you. In the sideboard here, we've got a lot of things for a few different matchups. We've got 4 copies of Witness Protection, and this is going to help against a lot of decks, right? Like, it's good against a resolved Greasefang. Maybe they got to cast Greasefang but don't have a vehicle in the graveyard yet. Great, turn Greasefang off with Witness Protection. It's going to help with the red decks because you can just get to make their creatures not have prowess in the in the example of Soulscar Mage. You get to just deal with a lot of the things from any green decks you fight because, like, green decks don't want 1/1s, they want like 5/5s. So turning your creatures off from your opponent's side is pretty big game. When you're playing against a mono blue opponent, just like in Pioneer, this thing has Shacklegeist's name all over it. Speaking of which, we are also playing 4 copies of Mystical Dispute. The counter spells are going to be super relevant, especially since I expect to fight against a decent amount of both control and mono blue spirits, and Mystical Dispute's gonna be pretty great there. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Grafdigger's Cage. These are primarily going to be for things like Art Like Phoenix, but you will every now and then just catch other cards coming out of the graveyard, for example Croxus. And then the other 2 cards here are going to be 2 copies of Malevolent Hermit, which is just pretty good for our archetype, right? Like, you get to have a counter spell face up, an attacker, which is always nice, even if it's just a 2/1 ground pounder. And then the back half is just gonna be another spirit that they gotta deal with, right? Which is already great, but then non-creature spells you control can't be counted as nice because you just get to do things like Lofty, Geistlight Snare, Spell Pierce, all good times. If you have a Curious Obsession and you want to resolve it, your opponent's not gonna be able to like Dovin's Veto it, for example. So Malevolent Hermit's gonna be pretty sweet. And then the last card here is just gonna be a third copy of Fading Hope because, well, you are going to fight creature decks, so we want to make sure that the creature decks don't get to do the thing. That's going to be our deck. We're going to play a few through rounds here on the ranked ladder. We're in a new season, so that's pretty hype. So I will see y'all for the first round. Okay, so our first match is here. We're gonna be on the play, which is exciting, but we have a 1-lander, which is not, so we're gonna ship this. Now we've got a 3-lander, Spectral Obsession, Curious Obsession, Spectral Adversary. I will be pretty happy about this, and I'm gonna ship one of these lands. So now I get to just play this, and we'll see what's up with the Spectral Sailor resolving on this turn. What are we playing against? A Triome deck, hell yeah, let's go, untap. So we've got Ascendant Spirit. I'm just gonna do this, and the You See Your Guard approach is gonna be very likely to protect us from, I don't know, whatever removal spells they're playing. Spell Pierce is good too, sick. So now we did put back a whoa, 4-color. Lucky Clover, absolutely not. So we're playing against an adventure list, and Lucky Clover, if anybody has played against this deck in Standard, is absolutely busted in half in this. Hell yeah, let's go land drop. I'm gonna play my Ascendant Spirit and pass. Boop. So yeah, this card resolving is ultra terrifying out of these decks. Like, we just do not want to really deal with things like double Bone Crusher Giant Stomp, see? Look at that. So now we're gonna give our friend Hexproof. Leave my nice things alone, please and thank you. So now we get to go ahead, untap. I'm gonna do this, and let's attack. Yes, I would like to draw a card, and I would like to end my turn. So we're still pretty well protected from most things they could have here. My Spectral Adversary can phase my Spectral Sailor out, so if they want to point a removal spell here, like that, I'm gonna be able to do this. If they have another removal spell here, then so be it. Like, you know, if you have us, yes. So I'm gonna pay the 2. If they have another Bone Crusher Giant, then yeah, sure, you got me. But I'm still going to be able to untap with Ascendant Spirit and Spectral Adversary, Brazen Bower, that's fine. So Geistlight Snare is good too. So let's go ahead and attack for 3 and make our opponent solve these exact same problems. Except now we have a counterspell in hand. No shot. Yeah, Lucky Clover is just like not a card we can let resolve. Edgewalling Keeper, you got it. And I'm just gonna pump this up. I'm not gonna do anything cute like casting the Spectral Sailor here. We're already just making them do a lot of work to just not die. So I assume they're just gonna take this and go to 6, which is completely cool by us. And I'm gonna pass. We don't really need to do anything else here. I've got a couple of Shark Typhoons that we can cycle for creatures. We've got Brazen Bower to bounce something if, I don't know, yeah, we definitely do not care about that. That's gonna resolve all day. You got it, opponent. So let's just make this a flyer. All right, cool. GG, game 1. So against adventures, I want Malevolent Hermits. I only kind of want Mystical Disputes. I definitely do not want Fading Hope. It can rescue our own creatures, which is really nice, but Fading Hope on their adventure creatures is an actual disaster because then they'll just get to recast the adventure half of their cards. And that's not really something I want to deal with. So our game plan on the draw is going to be a lot worse than it is on the play, but I think we're still okay. So we're just going to go ahead and submit this with some pretty minor changes and hope we can run it back the exact same way. I really just want to let a Lucky Clover not resolve. That's, oh, this is fine. I would prefer 1-drops to all these 2-drops, but this is still fine. If somehow they go ahead and mull to a hand that does not contain a turn 2 Clover, then we're probably okay, and there it is. Okay, so that's did not happen. So we're gonna end turn here and hope they don't have Beanstalk Giant on turn 3. That's green, so this is probably Beanstalk Giant. Damn it. That sucks. I'm going to counter the real one. So at least this way they don't just have the adventure half here, but this is still gonna just get a land, which is still very good for them, but at least they're not gonna be casting like a 7/7 at me with a free card later, and they're gonna get 2 tokens out of this. Let's play our land drop. I want to play this one, and I can Spectral and Spectral, holding up Lofty. Yeah, sure. So I can counter this Lovestruck Beast and cast Spectral Sailor, which, to be fair, is not bad. I don't know that it's good enough, but it's not bad. They also have 4 cards in hand, which is a small disaster. Okay, no. Let's do this. And now I'm going to cast the Lofty Denial. And this works out fine, because even if they cast Stomp here, they're still going to have to tap out, and Lucky Clover is still going to get countered. So unless this is exactly a Mystical Dispute, alright, good, get that out of my face. 2 more tokens. Still pretty annoying, but if this is the worst that's happening off of this right now, then honestly, I think I'm okay. Let's pass the turn. I don't think I want to cast Malevolent Hermit. Yeah, go. So what can I do here? I can counter that, which is nice. I don't really want to deal with the 5/5s. They attack for the 4. I take that. Whoa, no attacks? That's... Oh, okay, opponent just said oops. Alright, well, sorry opponent. Sucks to suck. Let's untap. Let's go ahead and attack for 2. To be fair, it's not like we're doing all that much better because of the skipped attack. It's just a point that we're not stuck taking there. Spectral Adversary still looks okay here. I can no longer do anything about this, which is actually okay. Yeah, let's... Alright. So I'm gonna get to go ahead and pay for one of these. And let's phase this out in case of a land drop in an adventure, and block one of these. Faceless Haven's a pretty good draw. So I can cast a card I have, and I can still draw a card from these Spectral Sailors too, so go. So this isn't that bad. If they play something that's like super terrible and scary, I can counter it. An example of, not that, I was gonna say an example of land drop Escape to the Wilds, I do have a counterspell ready in Malevolent Hermit. Most other things I'm okay-ish with. Heavy on the ish, but better than nothing, so I'm gonna just take this 5, that's whatever. Yeah, you got me. No responses, opponent. So let's see what they want to do here. I can Spectral Sailor to draw, but I think I would rather untap in the case of Bone Crusher Giant. So if I tap out the draw, they can Bone Crusher Giant, Spectral Adversary, and Malevolent Hermit, whereas now they can't do that because I can just sack this, so I'm just gonna untap. Oh, they're gonna do it now? There's an upkeep stop. That's fine, because I'm just gonna cast the back half anyway. I already don't really want the front half. Okay, so there's the Stomp, and we want this to resolve, and they're gonna decide where to put the second half of the Bone Crusher Giant. Bone Crusher here, here's the Stomp, so I'm gonna counter the real one and let the Spectral Sailor die. Targeted Spectral Sailor, targeted Spectral Adversary. I wanna counter the one that is targeting Spectral Adversary. Spectral Sailor can die, and now I get to draw my card. Oh yeah, that's a good one too, let's go. Yeah, that's exciting. So I'm gonna put it on here, and I'm already happy with drawing one here. I do much prefer having the blocker to having them be at 7 instead of 8, because it doesn't like change my clock really, so why bother? Yeah, I think this is fine. What is that? Oh, that's just Naya Triumph. Okay, so I can block a couple of these creatures. Fuck, a third one? Alright, fine. You know, we played around... Oh no, I'm sorry, that's the second one of those. Never mind. Drawing 2 is reasonable. Fae of Wishes, that sucks, actually. Not very happy about that. I'm gonna take this 5 though. Yeah, I'm just gonna take the 5. So let's untap and see what we can draw to get out of this. A Lofty Denial, unfortunately, is a turn late, so I'm just gonna draw a card? Yeah. Ascendant Spirit. Do you help? Not really, but let's just see what happens. So here, if they cast a Bone Crusher Giant, I will be pretty happy to, actually, do I bother with the Lofty Denial there? I think the answer is actually no. Yeah, I think the Lofty Denial is actually better off just, are we clicking attack all? No, we're not. Okay, that's good for me. So I'm definitely blocking. Who am I blocking with? Is it Spectral Sailor or is it Benevolent Geist? I think it is going to be the Spectral Sailor. Reason being, I can over the course of a couple of turns, obviously, but I can pump this to level 1 being 2, level 2 being 4, level 3 being 6, and if I get 6 power on the table, 6 plus 2 is 8, so I can, with some good draws, line this up so that I'm able to attack for lethal if I can remove this Fae of Wishes. So if I draw something like, I don't know, say a Brazen Bower to bounce this or something, then things have to line up pretty well over the course of a couple of turns here, but if they do, then I have the ability to play Magic, which is better than I was doing a turn and a half-ish ago. I still think that if they cast a Bone Crusher, though, it's probably better for me to just let it resolve, so that I can pump my Ascendant Spirit in and do my best to potentially win this game. I will also be able to block with Faceless Haven, which is pretty important, so if they start attacking with the Bone Crusher Giant, I don't mind just like... so they are going to draw a card too, which is gross. Alright, you resolve. So now what? Alright, so let's try this. And if they respond with an adventure card, I'm just going to go to game 3 here. Like, we're not beating another removal spell here. Do we have a third Bone Crusher Giant? Do we have a Brazen Bower? What do we got? Brazen Bower. Alright, game 3. So I think that's still okay. So I can change, well, we can definitely change a lot of things, but I don't think I actually want to. I'm just going to run this back. So on the play, countering the Lucky Clover is going to be so much easier because we will be able to cast 2 mana counter spells on their turn 2 versus not being able to cast them. So Spell Pierce is still going to be live, which is nice, but now Lofty Denial / Geistlight Snare are actually going to have text. And as we saw when they're on the play, resolving the Lucky Clover is just kind of lights out. So let's play first, and okay, it's not great, it's not nothing. It's not a counterspell, which is definitely what I really wanted, but it is also not nothing. So let's end the turn here, and we're going to try to Spectral Sailor. So I'm going to play Spectral Sailor instead of Ascendant Spirit, because I still want to be able to get over a thing like, say, not bad, not great. Let's get an attack in, draw any 1 mana interaction, please. Dang it. Yeah, I'm just gonna cast this. So shields are down, so they can just stomp my Spectral Sailor, which honestly I kind of hate, but I will be glad. Oh my god, if I can untap here, that'd be so lovely. I almost just want them to cast a Lucky Clover and then just like let me untap. I very highly doubt that's happening because they've got 4 Bone Crushers for... Oh, that's not that bad, actually. Yeah, I actually don't really care about that. So let's bounce that so that we can draw our card. And draw a 1 mana piece of interaction, please? Not quite. Go ahead. Seeing this almost makes me think I should have been playing Witness Protection in here somewhere. Yeah, you got it. So if they grab a red source and kill this somehow, then I'm clearly not gonna... Oh, okay, green source. Love Struck Beast. You got it. So let's play this and get our attack in. If they block, I don't mind pumping. Yeah, that's fine. Interaction, please. Go. So now I can counter the Fae of Wishes, which is pretty important. If they kill this, but I get this, oh hell no. Absolutely not. Oh my god, I forgot that was legal. Totally forgot that was a thing you could play in this format. No shot. All right, so good job to us, but let's move on to the next round. Okay, so it looks like this time we're going to be on the draw, but our hand is fine, right? Like, we've got a couple of Spell Pierces, an Ascendant Spirit, a Hexproof, and a Brazen Bower, so we have a lot of interaction. And Light Step, Stitcher Supplier, so we're likely fighting Greasefang here, which... honestly, I was gonna say, which actually kind of sucks because I've got Ascendant Spirit and not a Spectral Sailor, and this thing actively really wants to block. But I've got a Spectral Sailor now, so if I draw a Curious Obsession, I'll actually have a somewhat reasonable attack here, and I've got a lot of interaction against the Greasefang itself too, right? Like, I got this to tap something, I've got... that's actually fine. I already wasn't gonna play the Ascendant Spirit anyway, so you can have that. And I definitely want to keep all the rest of this stuff, so you can attack me, that's whatever. And let's play this. And now we're gonna untap and... dang it. I was gonna say, now we're gonna untap and hopefully draw ourselves a nice copy of Curious Obsession. We don't get that, but that's still okay. What'd they mill? They milled nothing of note. So I've got a lot of stuff here, right? Like if they want to play a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, I've got Spell Pierce and stuff. I've got Brazen Bower to bounce something. Yeah, we just have like a lot of cool tools here. So I'm gonna just untap another land. That's actually not even bad. Let's get our attack on here and we'll play a land and we'll pass. So of note, they also don't have a white source yet, which is nice. A Fatal Push. I am going to... do I care about this Fatal Push? Yes. I'm going to give my friend Hexproof. So if they want to fight over this with something like a Bone Crusher Giant, I'll be happy to Spell Pierce. If they want to, like, Lightning Axe or something like that, then depending on what they discard, I'll decide whether I care at that point. Looks like the answer is they have nothing though. So that's nice. And starting next turn, I can play a land and then do something like, say, just draw 4 or hold up this plus this. And really any of these routes is acceptable. That's a plains. Okay. I honestly don't really like these lands that much. Like they're fine looking, these unstable lands, but Spell Pierce! Get out of my face! What do we got? 6 cards? Okay, so next turn if they play a red source, they can Kroxa. So that's a thing. Okay. Lofty Denial! No, they can't. All right, let's go. All right, deck, I see you. So now I have access to Brazen Bower plus Spell Pierce. If they draw land, I can just like that. I'll be pretty happy to just Lofty Denial the Kroxa and then untap. If they are going to pass, then I think so am I, but I really highly doubt that, right? Yeah, okay. So they're gonna get rid of most of their graveyard here. Yeah, I'm good for this. Get out of my face. I'm not going to cast Brazen Bower, untap. Ooh, cycling, that's actually pretty sweet. So let's do that, end the turn. And we have a lot of things here. So they don't have anything in the graveyard for a resolved Greasefang, which is great. Definitely just gonna take this, that's whatever. We'll go to 13. What do they play post-combat? Nothing, so I'll just cycle this for 2 and be pretty happy. And if they want to, I don't know, like Voltage Surge it or something, then so be it. I already get to draw a card. Deadly Dispute. That's fine, I didn't have Spell Pierce up anyway. Parhelion's in the graveyard. Yeah, okay, so they do have the Parhelion, another Deadly Dispute. Well, thanks to the first one resolving, I already wasn't going to be able to Spell Pierce this anyway. These are actually decent draws. So let's do this, pass the turn, and what can you come up with? They can resolve a Kroxa, which is annoying. I can't really do anything about that now, but they're at 13. So I will be able to do this to tap the Kroxa. I can do this to bounce the Kroxa. I have actually I have a lot of options, never mind. The Kroxa's not attacking anytime soon. And I don't really mind pitching Spell Pierce. Yeah, whatever. Go away. Because, yeah, these other 2 cards both deal with the Kroxa, and Spell Pierce realistically shouldn't have text for the rest of the game anyway, so it's not a bad discard here. We have 3 mana. That's a creature land. You got it. And I'm just going to draw a card holding up You See a Guard Approach. Yeah, let's do that. That's nice. That is actively great. And now I have 6 lands, so I can phase out 2 things if I really want to, but honestly, I'll be pretty happy just phasing out Kroxa. If they resolve a Greasefang, this game is probably over because I'm going to get the Spectral Adversary and phase out 2 things, which is super nice. They're casting another Kroxa, which is honestly fine. I'm just going to pitch You See a Guard Approach then. Resolve, pitch, yeah. So now let's see if you're going to cast a Greasefang or something. What do you got? 9 cards in a graveyard too. Noted. They have access to 6 mana. So can't stay away targeting the Greasefang. I have one sad opponent incoming. So we're going to stop before combat. And this is going to work out pretty well. So what's going to happen is they're going to put their Greasefang trigger on the stack targeting the Parhelion, and I want that to happen. So we're going to pass that, wait for them to declare their target. Now they declared their target, so I'm just going to get to cast this. And I'm going to pay twice. I'm going to phase both Kroxa and Greasefang, and since they will both be phased out, neither of them will be able to tap to crew this. But it's still going to bounce itself to the hand at the end of turn, so they're never going to get to attack, and they have to find a way to get back in the graveyard too. So let's auto pay twice. 1, 1, 2. Now that resolves and they can't crew it. So even though it has haste, I really do not give a shit. Resolves. So that actually wasn't bad for them because of the fact that they're going to have a blocker, but I remember we kept the Brazen Borrower, so I'm just gonna get to bounce this and attack with Faceless Haven. And that is out the window now. So I need to draw another interactive spell, I guess? That doesn't count. I have exactly 6 mana, which is not enough to attack with both of these. So here I'm just... Wait, did I have another thing in the graveyard? That's fine, because I have Brazen Borrower and I can pitch Ascended Spirit because I'm already not planning on doing anything with that. Yeah, that's fine. So let's go ahead and just attack for these. So they take this, they go to 4. That's exactly enough for the Spectral Adversary. I can discard the Ascended Spirit to Croxa, and I have a blocker. Yeah, we're okay. Go. Yeah, like this is fine because we have the Brazen Borrower, and that's still going to be pretty good against the Greasefang itself. So they're still not going to actually get to bring this on the table, which is nice. So we're gonna stop before combat. Oh, they're just gonna do it now. I am going to be pretty happy with just bouncing the Parhelion then, because the target's now declared. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to let them tap a creature to crew this, and then in response to that, I'm going to bounce it. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. So let's do that. So now who do you tap to crew? They tap Greasefang. So now I'm going to be able to, if they have a removal spell for this, I already can't beat that, so whatever. Sick. All right, opponent, your crew has technically resolved. Go for it. Yeah. Oh. Alright, we're clicking attack all. Return target creature card, 3 or less. The card has been discarded. So here, yeah, I'm just going to block Croxa and then cast Brazen Borrower. And I'll take 4 and go to 8 and be fine. Yeah, let's do that. So do that, block here, take 8, I'm sorry, take 4, go to 8. Cast Brazen Borrower, and then any of my 2 attackers is lethal. They can just cast this, right? Like, does that do anything? No, that doesn't do anything. Like, they have the mana for it, but it doesn't actually matter. Fatal Push, because that left the battlefield this turn. Sure, you got it. I can't protect that. So they can't stay away. What? I guess a Stitcher Supplier? Oh, okay, well, that plays. And we still have Faceless Havens too, so we have lots and lots of attackers here. I need another land to be able to no, that's fine. Oh, boo. It was a lightning axe, damn it. Are we gonna lose now? Shit. 1, 2, 3, yeah, crap. I think this one got out of our hands because they can still reanimate this, or rather animate this. I think this one got away from us, y'all. Oh, we were in such a good position too. Shoot. Yeah, all right, you got me. Let's go to game 2. Ah, man, that was so good. All right. So, things I want against them. Fading Hope is good. Malevolent Hermit is not. Grafdigger's Cage is okay. They can't cast Croxa and they can't cast Can't Stay Away. Witness Protection is actively pretty good. I do not want that Disdainful Stroke. Get out. Cards I don't particularly want against them. Ascended Spirit's actively kind of terrible. Because I have to like pump a crap ton of mana just to be able to attack. And because I don't want their Stitcher Suppliers to block it, because that actively helps them. So that's, yeah, that's just really bad. I do want most of the rest of these things though. I gotta take out 3 cards. I think the cards I want least are, I'm not taking out the Curious Obsessions. There's a still good on even just like this or a Shark token. They're a little late, but I think they're still fine. Lofty Denial is definitely worse than Geistlight Snare here. Is that right? Is that even right? No, I'm going to keep in all the counter spells. I actually am going to take these out because I've got so few 1-drops left. So let's do that. And we still have like an okay amount of card advantage, right? Like we have our copies of Shark Typhoon to cycle and draw cards and produce value there. We still have the one, of course, in a really late game scenario, as we saw earlier. This is okay. We have access to things like Spectral Sailor's draw ability. So like there's still ways to play. And being on the play will be a little helpful here. Okay, and okay, you got it. So, oh, look at that. Thank you, deck. I love you too. That's really funny. So now, depending on what they do, maybe they just cast like a Blood Tithe Harvester, right? I'll be able to Spectral Adversary, Curious on it, holding up this, even if I don't draw a land. So that's nice. And what are we doing? We're passing. Okay. That means I'm stuck looking at some kind of removal spell. So Lightning Axe is probably the most likely one. I don't think I can afford to wait though. I can try for a land drop with this. I think I'm gonna cycle and try for a land drop instead. Yeah, let's just do that and try for a land drop. Because I'm currently not like doing anything unless I get to play another land anyway, so... Oh, that's actually fine. And we got it. Cool. So now we get to just pass. I don't really care about taking one. They can pitch this to just like... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say to get rid of a Parhelion, but now I get to, what? Spectral Sailor and Spectral Adversary? That's fine. 1, 2, 3, okay. They pitched a Greasefang, but no vehicle, which is great. That's a fine attack, you got it. And here, I think I'm just gonna cast this first, because I think I'd rather protect this with a UC guard approach. My turn. No. Do this. Yeah, I'm gonna play this. So now if they have one removal spell, then I'm still okay to resolve this on something. Deadly Dispute. Okay. That's pretty good. Nothing of relevance milled, which is nice. And now is this a Fatal Push? Or Lightning Axe, I guess. Either way works. It is a Fatal Push. Okay. That's fine. So we're still gonna get to untap with something, which is kind of the entire goal there. So I'll be happy to do this. I should have just played that first, but I guess there wasn't really anything else playing around. Draw me a counterspell. Not quite. Go. No white mana, which is nice. But I've got this to protect. That's whatever. So they will get to have a blood token again, which is fine. I already wasn't doing anything about the first one. I'm gonna just take that. That's whatever. You got it. Cast. Leave my nice things alone. Don't look at my Spectral Sailor. I literally just asked you very nicely to not look at my Spectral Sailor. A land drop is actually not bad. This deck does not have counter magic, confirmed. And now we've got 5 lands. So that's good enough to make Shark Typhoon a 3/3, which is nice. Or I can just phase this out. That seems okay too. So if I get to do this, and they're going to respond with another removal spell, which is fine if that's what happens. If they have a vehicle to pitch to this and a Greasefang to reanimate it, then, you know, I got. March of Otherworldly Light. That sucks. Okay, you got it. But that's actually fine though, because they had to devote an entire additional resource just to be able to do that. So I'm going to pay here and I guess just phase this out if they want to use it now. I don't know, because like I can already block this just fine, so whatever. And that's fine too. Like I already wasn't doing anything about that. So if they want to just attack me for 1, take me to 15, then I get to untap with a potential 4/4 here, and if I draw something nice, I didn't, but I could have, then even better. So let's just get an attack in here. And a 4/4 cycle will make me pretty happy. I am not casting Shark Typhoon, so before somebody makes fun of me and like, hey, you should cast this because you can draw spells. No. We are not casting Shark Typhoons. So what can they do? They can fire this up. F in the chat. Alright, so I'm gonna cycle this for 2 then, and I'm gonna look for a counterspell. Let's find a counterspell, please. Fatal Push that. Sure. Woo! Let's go! Get out my face! That was sweet. So now they can't attack. I have this, and you go to blocking duty, you go to 8. I play this. Pass. So that's the last land I'm playing for a bit. If they draw like a Thoughtseize or a Croaxer or something, I actually kind of want them to devote a turn to doing that and see what they want to do about my hand, if anything. If they like have a removal spell to kill this, then that's fine because I have this still. Den of the Bugbear, I'm gonna just block the token. Yeah, I don't care about that. Alright, sick. Game 3, let's go. And do I want to change anything for game 3? I am on the draw. I think the answer is no. So now what do we want to see? We want to see, I mean, the one of Curious Obsession was ultra sick as far as draws going, so that was nice. But I really think I just want to hit a couple of lands, and yeah, this is fine. Like, this is completely acceptable. Like, this being able to bounce a Greasefang or something is ultra nice. This is a what? A supplier, sure. Okay, cool. I do like it when our opponents mill cards that honestly don't really matter. And I get to play Spectral Sailor, so that'll potentially spin me into Lofty Denial. If they want to cast a Fatal Push at it, then so be it. Sacred Foundry, yeah. Alright, let's see if it's Fatal Push. It's not. Play this. Attacks. Go. So now I can Lofty Denial something, or Fading Hope, whichever we see fit. We're just gonna take this one here, that's kinda whatever, and what do you got? The answer is nothing. I'm gonna untap. When both of us doing nothing, I think I'm winning by a lot. Go. I'm pretty sure a correct assessment of what's happening here. Like, if we're both just making land drops and passing, then that is super great for me and pretty medium for the opponent. So like, they would rather be casting like Blood Tithe Harvesters and things, and they will eventually get to outpace this, but I think that's okay still. I think I'm just gonna cycle a Shark Typhoon here. Like, I don't necessarily care that much if it's just like a 1/1. I get to establish just a little bit more of a board, and more importantly, cycle through my deck. That's fine. Nothing of consequence milled, which was great. The treasure's actually pretty bad for this Lofty Denial, but I'm still pretty happy to have another card coming to my hand. What are we doing? The Spell Pierce may or may not be relevant. Alright, opponent, what do you got? So now I'm potentially cycling towards bigger sharks. I would love to see another creature here, like a Brazen Borrower or a Spectral Adversary, but as far as hands go, absolutely not. Get that shit out of my face. So, to be fair, that's... yeah, let's just untap. I thought about cycling this Shark Typhoon, but I think I'm okay to just get a couple of points in here and pass. So I can still Lofty Denial something, that's kind of whatever. So the blood token's probably pretty relevant to what's in their hand, but since I can Lofty or Fading Hope a Greasefang, then I actually don't really care, so I'm just gonna draw a card. And if they want to kill this in response, so be it. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, and you lose 2 life for that? Hell yeah. I'm not gonna go so far as to say best case, but man, this card is almost exactly what I want them to be casting if they have to have any removal spells. If I'm being completely honest, if I had kept up mana, I still don't know that I would have countered that. Alright, so what are we pitching? We are pitching a Parhelion, okay. So this looks to be like the turn we really need to pay attention to. But we have a lot of stuff here. Like, we've got Lofty Denial to counter a Greasefang. I've got Fading Hope to really fuck up a Greasefang plus Parhelion line. I can make a shark for 3, but I think I would rather play a Spectral Sailor and draw. I just want more cards in my hand anyway, but also we have seen that they play a Braid, so if I'm gonna make another shark, I want it to be at least 4 to fade that removal spell. 6 is the next damage point that's relevant, because Lightning Axe. Oh, see, look. Like, if we had cycled a shark there, then we would have just gotten it abraded for no reason. That would have sucked. And that's actually pretty good for them, but whatever. That's not bad. Alright, sick. So we get to play a land, get an attack in. Slow and steady will win this race, looks like. That's potentially important to know about. And this is pretty far outpaced here, so... okay, so they have the Greasefang. I have a lot of things to say about that. So countering them, however, is not one of them. So yeah, alright. If they play something else with 4 power, then... that is not 4 power, I don't care. Okay, so we're gonna let them declare the target. And that target is probably gonna be the Parhelion. And now I'm gonna Fading Hope so that when Parhelion hits the table, it doesn't have anything to crew it, so it's not gonna get to attack. And I do want Faceless Haven, as a matter of fact. There. So now you don't have any friends, and that's kind of exactly what we want to be seeing here. And I don't know that I mind cycling Shark Typhoon for 2. What, opponent? That's allowed. 100% allowed to do that, because I'm just going to... how do I bounce this? Or rather, I want to tap that, and I don't want to let them actually get to declaring attackers. Is there a way I can do that? Stop before combat. Yeah, I want priority so that I can tap this before we go into declare attackers. I don't want them to be able to declare an attacker. Oh, I don't know how on Arena to make that happen. Oh, sick. Okay, so I'm gonna get to tap this anyway. I'm like, wait a minute, we planned for this. Really thought we were going to get messed up on that, because I don't know my way around Arena that well. So let's just do this. Cycle for 2, draw the Faceless Haven that we knew about, attack for 3, and play this. And the cool part about the way they did that too, because they sacrificed the treasures to do all of that, my Lofty Denial is fairly likely to be back on. Not with that though, specifically. So what can we reanimate? We can reanimate the Battle Boat, which is honestly fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't have 2 counter spells. Yeah, whatever, you got it. So I can, in response to the Battle Boat, just give my friend Hexproof or tap this. Which do I want to do? I think Here, I want to let them, it is the Sky Sovereign, yeah. Let them kill off the 2/2 shark, tap this in response so they can't attack. Yeah, let's do that. Tap this and they can't animate this. Okay, so my shark is gonna die and that's gonna be sad. But they're not going to get to attack with this. It's going to go back to their hand, and I'm going to give to Witness Protection to Greasefang for next turn too, which is nice. Deadly Dispute. I am going to Lofty that actually. And if they respond with a 1-mana spell here, then I'll just flash in Spectral Sailor. Yeah, nice. So I still have a flyer, so they're still going to have to pay 4. Nice try, opponent. I'm not going to get to draw a card, which is sad times, but let's untap anyway. Here's that. I want to make them mill, I think. I think I want this blocker out of the way. So I am in fact going to attack with the Faceless Haven and then Witness Protection to Greasefang. So they're gonna get to block, and I'm not the biggest fan of that because they can mill Croxa. I am aware of that. Good, they didn't. Fingers crossed. So if they have another Greasefang, I can't really do shit about that, so that sucks. They can march the Witness Protection too. Like, they actually do have a lot of outs to be able to reanimate this Parhelion. But it looks like none of them are currently happening, which is nice. So if they're just gonna attack with these two, then I'm going to block the Goblin token and... Or do I just draw a card? I think I just take this 5 and draw a card. Yeah, alright. That actually seems better for me. I'm gonna go to 11. Whatever. Oh, that's nice. And so is that. Sick. So now I'm just going to activate, put you at 1. Fatal Push. I will not rescue that. I had potential there to maybe use it as mana for Shark Typhoon. Don't know that that would have been the best use of my mana or turn though, because I could just like make a giant shark and protect it with something next turn. This is actually not that bad for me because I can Fading Hope this. Yeah, let's do that. Go away. And do I want that? I think the answer is no. I don't really want that. Let's take 2 and go to 9. An island is also not really what I wanted, but I'm not that sad about this. So, oh, they just didn't play this post-combat, did they? I don't think they made a land drop before this. Yeah, so they're not going to get to attack with that this turn, which is nice. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, so they can't cast that if that's relevant somehow. Excuse me. So I take 2, go to 7. And cycling this for 6 fades all of the damage base removal. It does not fade a Fatal Push, but I already can't fade a Fatal Push. But it does fade both a Braid and Lightning. Hell yeah, let's go. All right, so they just pack that up. Yeah, let's go for one more match after this. All right, so we've got our third match here. We are definitely not keeping a 1-lander here. This is much, much better. And I'm going to ship, yes, go away. So this is fine. Like, if I draw, oh, okay. Knowing that actually makes me very glad that, okay, we're playing against Phoenix most likely. So this actually makes me pretty glad that we decided to pitch one of the Spectral Sailors. The likelihood of actually getting a Curious Obsession turn off against this deck is honestly fairly low, but we have a lot of interaction for them if they want to do things like, okay, Chart a Course, yeah, sure. All right, so they're gonna discard a Phoenix or something else. It is a Phoenix. So they can reanimate Phoenix next turn, but honestly, that's not that bad because we have a Brazen Power to bounce it and make them start all over. Oh, perfect mana for them too. Nice, nice. Strangle. Leave my friends alone. Yeah, let's do nothing about that. You got it. I'd rather have a Spectral Adversary resolved than a... And this is their turn 3, so I'm going to just cast this. I had to think about that for a second. I was like, are they going to reanimate that thing this turn? The answer is no, because that's all of their mana. They have 2 of these now. Shit. But we did draw this, which is nice. All right. So let's draw a card. It is a Spell Pierce. That means I'm playing this. So now that we drew 2 pieces of 1-mana interaction, I'll be pretty happy to be able to protect my Spectral Adversary fairly well, which is very nice. If they have... Okay, I am going to counter that. So if we can, like, potentially catch them without 2 more 1-mana spells, that sounds really nice. A Strangle, I will Spell Pierce. And now let's hope this last card isn't like, I don't know, Lightning Axe pitching Phoenix or something equally stupid. Opponent, if... Oh, come on! Don't have a 3rd Strangle. Go away. Stop looking at my stuff. Oh, it was the Lightning Axe, but at least it didn't pitch another Phoenix. This is still not good, but it is better than it could have been. So I am still going to bounce one of these, knowing full well they can just recast it. I can cast my Spectral Sailor. So are they just going to cast this for 4? Yeah, alright, you got it. Ooh, alright, that's my turn. Absolutely not. Go. So let's see, what can I do here? I can Flash and Brazen Borrower, block 1, and hold up Spell Pierce in the process, which may or may not be relevant. We'll find out. So let's do that. We're at 8. Crap. F. Yeah, we are ultra dead. Alright, concede. You got me, Phoenix player. So yeah, that's gonna be a little bit tricky to overcome here. What can I do? I've got Witness Protections, which are good against a Resolved Phoenix and Crackling Drake. Fading Hope I don't particularly want. Mystical Dispute, I want all of those. These two. Spell Pierce is kind of medium. All of these 2-mana counter spells are things I don't really want. I kind of want Geistlight Snare, but only kinda. I mean, I've got 4 Mystical Disputes on top of the Geistlight Snare, so I think that's gonna be pretty good against like the Char of Course half of their deck. And yeah, let's just keep it like this. So we can resolve a Cage, which is good against specifically Phoenix, and the counter spells between Geistlight Snare and Mystical Dispute means that we have more counter spells than they have copies of Crackling Drake. And then Shark Typhoon can kind of be the rest of our threat base there. So I think this is actually okay. And since this is Spectral Sailor and not Ascendant Spirit, it means that a Strangle won't necessarily body Spectral Sailor by itself. Okay, so I'm still gonna walk this into a Curious Obsession if they have it. Or I'm sorry, a Mystical Dispute. It looks like that wasn't the case, which is good. I'm gonna try it anyway. Sick, no dispute. Now let's draw a 1-mana piece of interaction. Sick. Alright, well, that's a good start. So here they can remove this, they can, okay. I was gonna say they can do like Char of Course, they have a lot of options. Luckily for us, so do we. Okay, and okay, I can bounce that. Is that how I want to start? Yes, it is. Alright, get out of my face. Do not dispute. Do not dispute. That sucks. So they're gonna get to loot. Yeah, this is kind of tough when we don't draw the disputes. Alright, so their friend is still on the table. Sucks to be me, etc., and end the turn. So now if they just like jam a Crackling Drake, I actually can't do anything about it, which really sucks. That's actually really obnoxious. I'm not doing anything about this either, so yeah, this matchup's a little tough. Let's take this. Expressive Iteration, I also don't have a card for that either, yikes. So things I can do. I can Spectral Adversary in response to EI, phase this out and prevent a Connive. I can cycle this for 2 and keep up on cards almost, but I think I would rather start here. If they have another Strangle in hand, then yes, I will regret this, but like, I think it's kind of just what it is. Okay, so I have my 3/2, and let's see what EI finds now. If they find land plus a Braid and then get to go ahead and coast, okay, and then get to kill this, then yeah, I'm ultra sad. Ugh. Fine. Yeah, alright. I consider, I don't really care about that. So I can Spectral plus Geistlight Snare something. I think that is the plan. So, but then they're gonna get to Connive. What? How am I getting you off the table? Yeah, letting this resolve is just like such a nightmare every time it happens. They have another dispute. Well, shit. Oh man, we are, to be fair, we got pretty lucky in our last couple of games, so I can't really be mad that our opponent has all these in a matchup that is already pretty good for them. Like, I can't really be that mad about this. I'm going to be anyway, but like, it's not necessarily justified. So I will take my damages here, cry about it. Casting Spectral Sailor will let them connive again, which is really obnoxious. Oh, they're not even going to. Okay, well, I'm not gonna do that then. I get to cycle, which is fine. Opt is kind of whatever. And let's see what, if anything, they can do about my 2/2 shark. I mean, I'm sure there's gotta be at least 1 or 2 answers, right? So what are we cooking with here? We're attacking for 3. I'm taking 3, going to 15. And they have the Drake. Oh, I guess I cycle for 1 and look for a dispute? Alright, so realistically, okay, that's just a consider. So they are going to get to see a bunch of cards because of the connive, but I mean, we'll take it if we get away with it, right? Like, we take those. Oh, whatever, opponent. Alright, let me untap. That's actually not that terrible. It's still not great, but I'm at least gonna get to cycle for 3, or I can cast and draw. I think I would rather cycle though. I don't know. We'll see what I feel like in a second. And and they're one land away from... Come on, man. Alright, so this time I'm gonna cycle for... because I can look for a 2-mana counterspell this time. Yeah, alright. Nope. How are we beating that? I don't know if we are. I have not played a spell. That was not it. Yeah, alright. Let's start here. Alright, that's enough of that. So I don't mind going 2-1 here. That's fine. You got me, Phoenix player. That was pretty tough though. So I think I like this version of the deck though. Like, we could clearly do some things different with the list if we decide to. Like, for example, we could play Slip Out the Back instead of You See a Guard Approach. There's a lot of things that we have the ability to change if we really feel like it, but honestly I kind of like what we're doing here, right? Like, this was fun. Like, I had a pretty good time with this. Let's move me over here so that we can see the sideboard again. So I guess a little bit of takeaway here, like, this part of the deck was honestly a bit lackluster, but we already knew that Mausoleum Wanderer was not a part of this format anyway, so like we knew that going into building this deck, so that's kind of whatever. I could also have just mis-sideboarded and really wanted to Witness Protection more than I thought I did against that deck. But honestly, like, I don't know. I don't know that we were winning the Phoenix matchup anyway. Like, it just is really tough here. And without cards like Mausoleum Wanderer to make the deck a lot more powerful, I don't really know that that's a matchup that's salvageable, maybe? I don't know, we'll see. Like, the cages obviously help against their Phoenix part of their plan, but like the Ledger Shredder Crackling Drake half really sucks. And even though we had 4 Mystical Disputes in our deck, they also just saw more disputes than we did, so I don't really know that. I can be too sad about that because we tried there and they just had the things. But in our other 2 matches against Adventures in Phoenix, or I'm sorry, Adventures in Greasefang, we did a lot of really solid work, right? Like, we got to have a lot of very good plays between Spectral, Adversary, and Brazen Borrower to help control the board. The Spell Piercers were pretty excellent in both of those matches, countering things like Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Lucky Clovers, and other like important spells, which was really nice. Fading Hope was kind of lackluster, but like there were a few moments when we really wanted to bounce spells, so I'm glad to have 2. I don't know that I would go above 2. This was excellent. Hexproof was great the entire time. The tap mode was also really relevant against the Greasefang deck. So I've spoken very highly of this card before, and I'll do it again now. Like, it was very impressive in just those 3 matches, right? Like, we really wanted the Hexproof a lot of the time. The tap effect was especially important against the Greasefang deck, and we knew that that was a thing that we had the ability to face against going into this, because we even talked about it when going over the list, right? I think this was good. Having played with this card, I actually think I like this choice. This of course was great, and we knew that we wanted the Brazen Borrowers, so like that was pretty good too. The Shark Typhoons were actually not bad. So this was the one I was a little medium on, because almost anything that gets us more cards would have been like fine, but I actually think the Shark Typhoons were pretty good. Like, we got to have uncounterable threats against 2 blue decks, being Phoenix and Adventures. We got to have giant threats that outpaced damage-based removal, and that was very important against Greasefang, because you saw that they immediately scooped to a Shark on specifically 6, because that outpaced both the Abrades and the Lightning Axe. We even got to, you know, play Spectral Sailor rather than Shark Typhoon, because we thought our opponent had an Abrade, and it turned out they did. So I like that we were able to kind of, you know, use the Shark Typhoon to our advantage there and make sure that we produce a threat that's big enough to outpace the removal that we thought the opponent had, and it turned out they did. The Malevolent Hermit, honestly, very medium. In just those 3 matches, we saw a lot of X1 creatures that could block this very well. And we didn't see any of the control decks that I actively really want Malevolent Hermit against. But even now that I think about it, if you play Malevolent Hermit, say like on turn 2 against control, they can also just like portable hold it and hold up 2 mana for something like a Dovin's Veto, or I don't know, Censor or Jawari Disruption, or whatever counterspells they're playing this week. So this might actually have been a bit of a mistake to include in the list, and I might take these out for something else next time I play this. But everything else was pretty good, right? Like, Grafdigger's Cage was fine. We got to play against Greasefang. We know they play cards like Can't Stay Away. We know they play cards like Croxa. And of course it doesn't do anything to Greasefang itself, but we know that going into that matchup. Witness Protection was pretty good, especially against the Greasefang deck, but like, it had, if I had sided it in and seen it against Ledger Shredder, then that would have had game there too. I didn't, so I think that's on me. Fading Hope, again, fine, not great. In Disdainful Stroke, we didn't come across any of the Disdainful Stroke matchups, but I believe if we had, it would have been pretty good. But that's going to be our, I guess, description of the deck here. We had some pretty good matches today. Like, everything was really back and forth. And even in the Phoenix matchup where we kind of got murdered, we still had the ability to play quite a bit there. Like, yes, our draws suck and the matchup is hard, but you know, that's just what it is sometimes. You know, not every matchup is going to be positive, but we still got to play like a pretty decent amount. Like, we, you know, cycled the Shark Typhoon looking for a dispute and found it against that Crackling Drake, which was a pretty big deal. That game is very different if we have a mystical dispute for the Ledger Shredder. We didn't, but we had 4 in our deck, so you know, we gave ourselves the maximum chances to draw one and simply did, and that's gonna happen sometimes. So I'm actually not even sad about the way that went, because like, we knew that Ledger Shredder is a very difficult creature for this deck to overcome too. And if I'm being completely honest, it might be one that we actually end up playing at some point, right? Like, do I even have 4 rares? This is Arena. I do, actually. Nice. All right, cool. So I can actually just get myself a set of Ledger Shredders and play them in this if we want to. So these could go where? In the Spectral Adversary spot? But I like this. I don't know. If we want to play the Ledger Shredders, then that is something that might take the place of, like, I don't know, 2 of these and 2 of these maybe, or some other configuration so that we're able to play Ledger Shredder and then take advantage of that ourselves. That could totally be a thing that happens here. But that's enough talking. We've, honestly, great times. I like this version of the list. I plan on tuning it and doing more with it. So I'm glad that this first little showing was really positive. Like, the deck had a lot of play. It was really fun. We got to learn some things about how Arena works in the combat step, which is difficult, but whatever. We got to do all of the things we wanted to there. Glad I didn't misclick really at all, because I totally expected to. And yeah, I will be playing this again. So if you want to check this deck list out, the list is going to be right in the video description, so feel free to click that for yourselves. And as always, if you like what you're watching, make sure to click like on this video, let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see y'all in the next one.